right, so let's talk about why, and I guess why and how we prepare, and and why this perception that prepping is crazy, that we're all crazy or we overreact, and I want to kind of go through that. We had a long conversation the other night. I wish we would have recorded that because it was pretty cool, but we're going to try to talk about some of the things we talked about then too, because to me it seems like that it's crazy not to. And that's not just something I say because I'm a prepper and I want to feel better about what I'm doing. I just don't see how people can go through their lives and not worry about it at all. I have a friend who a while back is Mr. Happy-go-lucky. I got to be positive. I got to think positive, and positive things are going to come to me. And I can't believe that you think about all this stuff. It's so negative. And I'm like, dude, I'm the most positive person that you know, even more positive than you. Just because I'm worried about this stuff doesn't mean that I don't have a positive outlook on life. And I think that's the perception that people have about preppers is you're so negative. And it's like, you have no idea. I do this because I like being happy. I like being comfortable. And I don't want to lose that. So when shit goes downhill, I'm going to be okay. And I'm going to be happy. And you and your positive thinking, your power of positive thinking, you know, good luck to you. That's
Well, at
what
least
I
they'll
gotta
be
say.
thinking positively if something happens.
Yeah, I'm
They get thrown
positive.
in a
I'm
dungeon.
positive
Well,
FEMA's gonna have water for me. But it gets me that people think and the preconceived notions they have about preppers. It just drives me nuts, and they don't want to. Even though inside there might be a little piece of them that says, you know what, it's pretty smart, but I'm gonna get labeled a prepper, and I don't want to get labeled a prepper, so I'm just not gonna do that stuff.
yeah, because they're worried about what somebody else thinks.
Yeah, which is ridiculous. I could care
Screw
less.
you. I
And
don't care what you think.
yeah, and that's where we kind of started talking about different types of preppers and stuff, because there are some like us that are really vocal about it. There are some people that and it depends on who I'm talking to. When we're talking on here, I'll just say everything to anybody. But when I'm talking to friends, I'm a little hesitant about it because what do you give out? What don't you? What is their reaction going to be to what you're saying? Because if their reaction is going to be negative, I'm not going to waste my time. So then I've got to, kind of feel them out at first and say, this and that. With us, we get people because of we're survivalist prepper. We get people say, so you got a website and this and that, huh? And I have to explain to them. I feel like I have to explain to them anyway that, yeah, we do, but we're not, not building bunkers. We're not doing stuff like that. We are
Yet.
average, everyday people. And then I gauge from their reaction how far I'm going to take it from there. So there's those types of people. There are people that do not want to say anything about it. They don't want the label of being a prepper. And unfortunately, that's the way society is. We label everything. And some people just don't want that. So they do it, but they're like that closet prepper, right? Then there's, what other kinds are there?
Doomsday preppers.
The doomsday preppers. And what are those, kind of explain what those are.
The doomsday preppers are, at least in my opinion, what I think of.
That's what everybody thinks preppers are.
Yeah. The normal preppers are people walking down the street, and if
Yeah,
people,
but when you say prepper to the average person,
they picture doomsday preppers,
prepper.
gas masks, bunkers in the backyard, a tank, what else?
Yeah, and
C rations or MREs.
in my opinion, if that's you and you can do that, more power to you.
Yep.
But not every prepper is like that. Not all of us can do that. I mean, if you live in the city, wherever you live, that everything about us restricts what we can do. So if you have 20 acres and you have a bunch of money and you've got all this stuff to do that, and you think that it's that important, more power to you. I'm not faulting anybody for anything they do, but there's a slim majority of people who are like that, and that's media kind of likes to betray the extremes of all situations, and that's what we'll talk about with propaganda too.
Yeah, because I don't even think that even I'm sure there's a very, very small percentage of people that are like that.
Yeah.
But because how the media is how it is and how Americans
get
love
ratings.
to be, you got to get ratings, and people want to be entertained, and even though it's quote real, it's they doctor that stuff up.
Yeah,
so even the people that are more normal they'll make them look crazy.
Yeah, it's the same thing with racism and police brutality and violence and all of that. It is the extreme cases that you see and you hear about all the time. But you don't hear about the hundreds of thousands of good police officers out there. You don't hear about the black and white people and Mexican people in the country that really could give a crap about all the racism crap. But if you watch the news, that's not the case. There's probably more people in this country that are just concerned about getting by daily, getting the major things solved, rather than the little protests and all of that at the colleges and this and that. It's like, get over it. We have so many things to deal with, so many huge issues. And I think that's the mentality of the United States.
Well, and I think it is, but at the same time, I also think that that's what the mass media is pushing. That's what they want you to think are the priorities, which they're not. And hopefully, I think people are waking up to it. But they want you to focus on all of the negative. They want you to, hate somebody or whatever because
divide
they're different. Yeah, because if you're so busy fighting amongst yourselves, you're going to be fighting each other. You're not going to be paying attention to what the government and all those people are doing.
Well, and I think that's a problem in the United States these days too, is the belief in God and faith and all that, because people are kind of going away from that. They don't want to be, again with the labels, they don't want to be a Christian, they don't believe in this and that. But now, since they don't believe in any kind of supreme being, they have to find something to believe in. So they pick this or they pick that, and they use that as their rallying call, and they don't pay attention to the big issues that really matter. It could be they're concerned about, they pick something that's got a bigger purpose than themselves. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Global warming, this and that. And
no, it's not global warming anymore.
What's it now?
Climate change.
Climate changes every year. Here in Colorado, it changes 4 times a year. I'm just saying. I don't know about all that. I'm not going to get into that whole can of worms either, because I don't think that there's been enough measurements, enough data to prove anything one way or the other. Over 100 years or so, this planet's been around for millions of years.
Because we've had ice ages and stuff, so I'm pretty sure that the climate has been changing way before we were here.
The population was pretty small last time that happened. In the Middle Ages, look up the mini ice age in the Middle Ages for any of you who believe the propaganda. But let's go into I don't want to get one way or another on that. Let's go into like what you were talking about with the political correctness and the divide and conquer. That is, and the propaganda. I guess it's all
the same thing.
Yeah, it is, because we're a bunch of trained monkeys in the United States, and it's insane, because whatever we see on TV, there's so many things that we're so bombarded with all of this information these days that we don't give anything the thought that it deserves. So we see something on TV, we believe it. We see this person says this person, you make this quick judgment in your head. Okay, I like this person, I trust this person, so what he's saying is the truth. You don't bother looking into it, it's just the truth. You've got these commercials and you've got all this stuff that they know what makes you click. They know the psychology of what's going to make you happy, sad, what's going to make you say yes. It's not going to work 100% of the time, but these commercials and everything, especially the political commercials, they're built that way.
Well, and the apps on the phones.
Yeah.
The apps on your phone, and you get happy when people play games or video games or anything like that. And actually, it's a neurotransmitter release of dopamine.
Yeah.
And it makes you feel good. So you keep doing it.
And
you keep doing it.
When you get stressed out about something, you hear something on the news, I'm playing my Candy Crush.
Right.
But with the divide and conquer thing too, it's kind of the same thing, because if something big happens, and these are the false flags and all of that we always talk about, but something big happens, they don't want you to worry about that. They don't want us not securing the borders, even though the majority of the people in the United States totally want it. You wouldn't know that from the media, from the politicians, because they do their little spin. So what they do, instead of people, if that subject gets too hot, what do? They'll start something about racism, or they'll start something about
the Starbucks Christmas cups.
Yeah, give me a break. It's a red cup.
But when everybody was so focused on that, other things that were going on that were not reported in the media.
Yeah, flying under the radar.
Yeah, the TPP.
Yeah, which is ridiculous.
And there was actually, I can't remember which state it was in, but the NSA, they're not allowed to do, like, a judge, like, made this big ruling on him. They're not allowed to do, like, massive data mining. And he ruled in favor of the people, basically. That was not on the news at all.
Yeah.
So big score, for the everyday people.
Well, and a listener of the podcast too had sent me something about the TPP, and I'll link to that. It's one of the it's France doesn't want to sign it because there's a provision in it, and I can't remember what the acronym is and all that, but I'll like I said, I'll link to it. But basically, it's saying that companies can sue the courts basically for legislation against them, and France is like, man, we're not having any part of that. And these are the countries that want to basically they control the people more than the United States has control. So these big businesses, these lobbyists and all that are kind of putting this stuff through, saying, hey, you know what, we want to be able to, if Congress puts something through or there's some legislation, yeah, we want to be able to fight back against it.
Yeah. That's
crap. And that's basically what France is saying. But I'll put that in there as well. But there's a little bit of tinfoil hat right there.
I was like, that's kind of interesting that's kind of going on with France. And then all of a sudden, then you have this terrorist attack.
And this terror stuff, and this is another thing that we talked about the other night. This stuff happens because everybody is so focused on themselves and what affects them. So they've got this stuff here that they're focused on. They're going by their daily lives. They are worried about abortions. They're worried about racism. They're worried about this. They're worried about that. Something like this happens, and it's, oh my God, I can't believe this happened. Well, I can, because we've been dicking around in the Middle East for 15 years. We basically kind of stirred the pot and created all of this stuff with Assad and Syria and just basically all these little groups are fractioning off, and then we're training and giving weapons to the rebels, which part of the rebels, that's what turned into ISIS. So all of this stuff is something that could be solved if the countries just got together and said, enough.
We're done.
Yeah, enough. But that doesn't happen. We've got to dick around. And I personally believe another tinfoil hat moment is the oil is a big part of that. That's what our economy is anymore. We're not backed by gold anymore. So, appeasing this person, helping, keeping this whole thing going, the military-industrial complex is what it's all about.
Well, the war machine, that's what makes money. That's what makes them rich.
Yeah. And the part, and I'm not making light of what happened in Paris with the 140 or 160, however many people it is that died. But how many of our soldiers die every day or over the last 15 years because of us piddling around in the Middle East? We don't ever hear anything like that. And, Obama says a few weeks ago when that shooting happened that we've become numb to the mass shootings. Well, have we become numb to the stuff that's going on in the Middle East because we watch it on TV now? We see it all the time, and it's basically, to us, it's a movie. These are American lives we're talking about, and it's far more than 140. These are soldiers. These are children. So have we become numb to it? Yeah, I think we have, and it goes deeper than the terrorism thing. Oh, where was I? I kind of went off the deep end on that one.
You did. Woo!
That's where I wanted to go with all of this, though, is this culture of political correctness and
I don't want to hurt your feelings.
Yeah, that's racist, and this is racist, and this and that. It's when did it happen that we have to apologize for being Americans? When did it happen that, I'm sorry for being white, or I'm sorry for being American. I'm sorry that America is such a bad country and I'm part of it. We really owe you. When did being American become a bad thing? Because it seems like it has. Even the younger generation here in the United States, they want to apologize for, we're sorry we're such a big bully, and we're sorry we're so greedy, and we're sorry we're such a dirty country and wasteful and this and that. And look at China. Are we as bad as them? I don't think so. We've got far more regulations, too many, I think. Mm-hmm. That our EPA and all of that stuff. I just think when did it become a bad thing to be an American? And America used to be this great country. Not only that,
but when did it become a bad thing to speak up for what you believe in?
Yeah.
When did it become a bad thing to actually report news that was actually happening? You didn't have to worry that you were going to get killed or offed because you were actually reporting something on the news that was relevant.
Yeah.
That's our lovely system anymore.
Yeah, and everybody it just gets so butthurt when if I don't agree with you, then you're wrong, or if, it's ridiculous when people don't agree with me. Okay, whatever, don't agree with me. I know I'm right, and if I'm not right, then I'm gonna admit that I'm wrong. But I don't care. It's that's the way this country was set up. You're entitled to your opinion.
Right.
That's what makes everything work. Is everybody? You can have Democrats, you can have Republicans, and everybody against each other, kind of, or with different ideas, not necessarily against each other, but with different ideas, kind of makes everybody think. But with the government now, Democrat, Republican, whatever, it doesn't really matter. They're all doing the same damn thing. And they're
Right.
all getting their pockets lined. And it's all the corporations nowadays. It's
Well,
not,
that's who runs the countries is the
yeah,
corporations.
yeah. And that's the TTP and TTP,
TPP,
all of that stuff. It is.
Trans-Pacific Partnership.
And that's, it kind of goes into this whole Walmart mentality we have as well. It's the quick and easy. It's the cheap, the quick and easy. And granted, sometimes it's tough because you don't have a lot of money. So it has to be the quick and easy. You look for the lower prices. And that's part of the divide and conquer thing too, because the more you can keep people oppressed, in the inner cities and all that, the more you can keep them oppressed and give them little promises here and there, the
Throw 'em
more
a bone.
control you have over them. Yeah, yeah. And the more you can, instead of when they start worrying about this or that, you throw racism into it or something else to get them distracted. Throw them a bone over here in this direction and get them running after that instead of the real problem, which is, you can get on these different programs. That's great. It's going to help you out right now. But what about your children? What about your children's children? What is that going to do for them?
Well, and I think that's part of the reason we're in the problem we're in the situation we are today, because we do have that Walmart mentality. We want instant gratification. We want it and we want it now. So what do? We go get it. Instead of, you want a loaf of bread, go to the store and buy it. It's $2. Instead of actually taking the 20 or 30 minutes that it's going to take you to make it at home. It's going to taste better. It's actually going to be cheaper and it's going to be better for you. But it's just that simple. It's just, we are so focused on ourselves. We are so focused on what we need and what we want. Actually, not what we need, but what we want and how fast we can get it.
And it's all right now.
Yes. So I think that's part of the big problem. And that's why that's one of the things that got me into preparedness and wanting to prepare and being more self-reliant, is because I want to do the stuff for myself, because I'm not going to sit back and wait for someone to help me.
Yep. Yeah, and that's kind of where, I don't know what percentage or whatever, but I guarantee you there's a huge portion of this population, I would even say 90%, that if you asked them, how do you make bread? They'd be like, I don't know, I'll just go to Walmart and buy it. And that's the whole thing with this. With these companies, and this is kind of the TTP as well, because with these companies, that the reason Walmart can sell everything as cheaply as they can is because they're paying somebody in China. I've read something, I don't know if this is true or not, but it's $3 a day, basically, is what they get paid in China. If they had to pay what the wages, the minimum wage, even just $8 an hour, let alone what they're talking about with $15 an hour. That's a whole other rant that I could get on why that's dumb. But if they can do that, that's how they can create these prices so low. But what does that do, not only to us here in the United States, because these jobs that could be ours are going over there?
They're gone, yeah. All of the manufacturing, everything is gone because they can do it in China or wherever, so much cheaper. So there's no manufacturing here.
Yeah. And what does it do for, not only us, but what does it do for these Chinese people?
Nothing.
That work in these places and that have no choice but to make $3 a day because of that fascist dictator, or what is it, Mao, whoever it is. But their government is basically set up, we're gonna make you do all of this stuff dirt cheap. We don't have regulations. We don't have rules. We don't really care. You're basically a slave for us. And everything goes to the United States. And that's, as consumers, us in the United States as a whole, we have a huge choice in this. We could just not buy from Walmart and cause them to shut down. But we don't, because it's cheap. It's easy. We don't think about the people in China getting hosed because it doesn't affect us. we go to Walmart, we see the people working there. I just watched a documentary about Walmart, and the people were kind of bitching about the wages and all of that. And it's, that's the way it is with just about any job. But, these people that are complaining about their $8-10 an hour here, go to China and see what it's like there. That's kind of the first world problems that I kind of started thinking about when we were thinking about all this stuff, is that as Americans, I mean, what was it? Louis KC talking about, you're flying in a plane. We're bitching about our cell phones having lag or whatever. We got to wait 30 seconds for a website to load, or you're on a plane and you've got to shut off your phone. Louis KC was like, you're on a damn plane. You're flying through the air. It's not that bad. As Americans, even the poorest of the poor, it seems that bad here because we see people here that have it better than us.
Well,
and that's no matter where you are.
They want and want and want and want.
Yeah. And the more you make, the more you're going to spend, the more you're going to want. But we really have no idea. I mean, and I'm with all of this stuff, I'm being general. I'm not there. I'm sure there are people out there that do know true poverty and all that. But for the most part, there are systems set up in this country to help out. Whereas other countries, there just aren't. And I think that might be a lot of the problem with the Middle East too. There's nothing to hold on to. Everything is so fragmented, and everything is based on 15 different religions. And there's, this person wants power. It's power, greed, and then we've got to go in and get our fingers in there. That's where I was originally with this, was why is it a bad thing to be American nowadays? Back, even when we first got into the First World War and the Second World War, we used to go to war to defend ourselves. And now we're going to do other things. It's not just defending our country. If we were just defending our country, we'd never go to war. We'd be like Canada.
And everybody loves Canada.
Yeah. But now we don't do that anymore. I mean, we basically had to get pushed into World War II before. And I'm glad we did, because I think we are the reason it turned out like it did. But it's not that way anymore. And now this pot has got so muddied that, what do? We can't pull completely out. Everything's going to go to crap. That's like going in and starting a big fight and then just walking away and everybody else is rumbling and all that. You know what I mean? Rumbling. So, I mean, that's basically it for this week. That's what I've got. Just the, why we prepare. And to me, it's not as insane as people think it is. I don't let them think that, I suppose. I'm going to be as safe and as prepared as I can, regardless what happens. It doesn't have to be a nuclear war. It could be a natural disaster, but I'm going to have what I need to have to get through that. And then I'm going to do the best that I can. Situational awareness, just pay attention to what you're doing. As you're, even out on your daily routine, and practice that stuff and practice paying attention to what's going on around you. And then, don't apologize for being American, I guess. I'm not. Just kind of think about all of that stuff and just keep doing what you're doing. What do you have?
That's about it. I mean, just keep preparing and getting ready, because you never know what's going to happen. And I'm not, like I've said many times before, I'm not going to become a target, and I'm not gonna lay down if something like that were to happen. It's like I'm not gonna back off. I'm not gonna go hide in the corner. Oh, don't shoot me.
Yeah, and that's the one thing before we get out of here too. We were talking about with the people in the theater there in France. There was 1,000 people in the theater, right?
I don't know how many people were in there.
Something like that. There were 3 terrorists. How can 3 terrorists, and I think that would happen here too, how can 3 terrorists go in and nobody do a damn thing?
Because they all got on the ground, and they did what they were told. They were good little sheeple. Get on the ground, put your, or whatever. And I don't know because I wasn't there. But I can see, I mean, it's just like they have a video going around, and I'm sure a lot of people have seen it. It's about how to stay safe in the workplace. Like if something happens and there's a threat. And the biggest thing that they push is you should hide or you should get out.
Hide and, run.
Hide and run. And I'm like, really? So there's 20 other people in there and there's one, bad guy or whatever, and so you're just gonna leave. You're just,
Yeah. And that's what I was saying with this is that if I was right there and I knew I'm going to die anyway, I'm okay with that. I'm ready to meet my maker. But if I knew that if I didn't do something and I had a chance, regardless of whether I won, lost, whatever, if me and, maybe 8, 10 people followed me and then it just built from there and we stopped however many people from dying, because I think about 100 people died there. How many people would, if a few people would have stepped up, kind of like they did on the plane with the Pentagon, if a few people stepped up and said, no, you're not doing this, and stopped them. I mean, but that's not the mentality these
No,
days. The
it's you
mentality
do
is,
what you're
oh,
told.
I got to get out of the way. I
You
can't,
do
I
what you're
can't do
told.
anything.
Well,
Yeah.
screw that. I'm not doing what I'm told. I'm going to do what's right. I'm going to think about the people that are around me. So,
Yeah. I don't think I could have not done it.
Mm-hmm.
If I was right there and I had an opportunity, the only thing that would have been going through my mind is anybody going to help me? Because I'm going to be pissed off if they don't. But I would have done it. I'd have tried. And you know what? If you're going to die, you're going to die. But how many people can I save by doing that? And hopefully other people follow. People have talked about, the gun, could they, if they were carrying, could it have made a difference or this or that? I don't know. In an arena like that, I mean, I don't know. But I do know that 1,000 people against 3 people, I don't care what kind of guns they have. It's ridiculous.
You're gonna be able to do something and get something
Yeah.
done.
And that's the mentality that we've lost as Americans.
Yep.
We've lost that fight. We've lost that, you're not going to do this to me.
Well, who said that it used to be a lot harder to kill 1 million people than to control 1 million people.
Yeah.
But now it's a lot easier to control 1 million people than it is to kill 1 million people.
Yeah,
So
I don't know who said that.
I don't know, but I mean that's the mentality that
Yeah.
we're in today.
I gotta, don't be the bad guy, please. Don't hurt me.
Do what you're told. Sit down.
Kill them. Don't kill me.
Sit down.
Bull
Shut
crap.
your mouth.
Yeah, don't kill anybody. If you're gonna kill somebody, if I knew that sacrificing my life would save 20 people, I'd do it in a heartbeat. And unfortunately, people just don't see it. They don't think like that. The soldiers do. The people that put their lives on the line every day, they do. Mm-hmm. But the average American that says, "Hey, thank you for your service,"
yeah, they have
no idea.
No idea.
Yeah, they have no idea what they're talking about. But anyway, that's it for this week. We went a little bit long, but good stuff. I think we kind of rambled a little bit. I always do though. I'm a rambler. But anyway, appreciate everyone. We'll talk to you next time. Until then, take care and prepare.
Goodbye.